Okay, we're going to do part 6 of the directed energy weapons / systems and the links to the international government fraud and child trafficking. And the concern is, and there's real validated concerns, that there is a harmful weapon system integrated into 5G masts and into the ULEZ cameras around the world now in populated areas. So we're looking at that now. So we're now looking at the Masonic Charitable Foundation. And it links through, you can see, via this person on the right. And again, you can verify and corroborate this information. Go onto the Companies House registration system. Everything I've shown you, you can look at, corroborate, verify, and see if it's true. Now, we've just mentioned at the end of the last video that we now have a link to cybersecurity for the country linked to this system of fraud. So that immediately gives the ability for them to manipulate and utilize potential cybersecurity threats, whether they're real or staged, to provide a cover for the narrative of this fraud and the child trafficking. Now, this is really important, this next bit. So if you're members of the public services or the the police, the armed forces, the NHS, etc., look at this, because this is incredibly important for you. We now have pension companies linked to the fraud, appearing to be linked to the public services for the country. So let's look at that. So we've now got through the same person, remember. So this is linked from the Masonic networks, from the Masonic Society, through to cybersecurity, through to now the same person is linked to all of these through Companies House, and they're now linked to the Forces Pension Society Investment Company Limited. Let's have a look at them. So they should have the incorporation name of Officers on the document of Officers Pension Society Investment Limited. So Officers Pension Society Investment Co. Limited, sorry. Has it? No. It hasn't, look. It's got Officers Pension Society Investment Company, not Co. And it has to match the register for it to be lawfully registered. So this is an unlawful, illegal entity company again. And what does that mean? Well, it means that if there's no accountability and liability through this fraud in this company, because of the fraud in this company, they can take money from the account. They can then do what they want with it, send it to offshore accounts. If they then reduce the population, or the individuals that are paying into these pension funds don't get to claim their pensions, they lose all of that money that they paid, of course, and these people can gain it. It's as simple as that. This money can be defrauded through a criminal process. And look at the date of the company. This company changed its name. So it was 1966, it had this name until July 2001. Now, that is an important date because that is the same date that Larry Silverstein purchased the lease for the World Trade Center building. He was the only person to ever, it was the only time in the whole history of the building for that building to change hands and management in 31 years. He purchased it, and then in July, and in September it collapsed. By chance, Larry Silverstein was not in the building. Normally he would have breakfast in the building, but he wasn't at the time. Watch my other video, please, in the World Trade Center disaster to see how that all links. So, let's move on. So we're now looking within the Forces Pension Scheme. That company we're just looking at, and into the People Record, and you'll see that it links through to the Forces Pension Society, so a different name company. And if we look at the Forces Pension Society, you can see that they were originally called Officers Pension Society Limited, and they changed their name, and then they changed their name again in July 2001. So the incorporation document should show on the bottom left there, you can see Officers Pension Society Limited. And it does say Officers Pension Society Limited. Just checking that it does. Yeah, it does appear to. But it is linked to Jordan and Sons Limited. And we know that Jordan Sons, a legal entity. So what it creates is an illegal, unlawful entity in this company, because on its incorporation document there, which is our legal document, you have the forgery as well, or the link through to the forgery through these companies. So that means there's no accountability and liability for this company, which means it is part of the system of fraud. So let's go back now to the Masonic charity. You've now got links you can see through this person on the left to, on the right, you'll see there, Rothschild Management Services Limited. In fact, look at all of these Rothschild companies. Okay, Rothschild. Okay, they're dissolved companies, but you'll find that you go in through those and there'll be active companies. Here's one that's active on the left. And here's this person. Remember, remember we were looking at James Long earlier and I was trying to find the link. I'd lost the link earlier actually. And here we are again with what I suspect is the same person if they're real, but they've got a middle name now, so it's a change of record, so the duplication of records here. So we're now looking from the Masonic charity into this person's record, and you can see you've got JP Morgan Asia Growth and Income PLC, JP Morgan Asian Growth and Income PLC, and on their overview page you can see the word Fleming. Okay, you can see that Fleming, and then they took the Fleming name out in 2006, changed the name again in 2020 to JP Morgan Asia Growth Income Limited. Just looking at the dates here, so they changed the name in fact, very soon after the World Trade Center disaster, look, in February 2002 on the right there. They changed it, so what's that, 5-6 months after the World Trade Center disaster, changed their name. And so just took out JP Morgan, basically. Took JP Morgan, added JP Morgan, didn't they, to the company name. So it wasn't called JP Morgan at the time, changed it JP Morgan, etc. So there you go, it's a link through to my company. And this is the incorporation document for it. And Hackwood Secretaries link throughout the fraud. You'll see that throughout them. So we're going into one of the people that we were looking at. So where were we? James Long. Back there we were mentioning we're now in other companies linked to him. So we've got the British South Africa company, in brackets. We've got the Small Hotels of the World Management Limited. Jeffrey Epstein linked through to Atlas Hotels and other hotel systems. And here we go. I'm sure if I look close enough, I'll find the links almost directly through to him. So now we have Small Luxury Hotels of the World. Looking at their registration. And you can see that they were started up by the very same companies that started my building, or certainly one of them. Swift Incorporation Limited on the left. Part of the fraud. And the name there, Michael Richard Council, has not been registered with Swift Incorporations. And here we have Jordan companies as well linked to it. So back into the Masonic charitable company, we've now got a link through this person. So into the people record, click on them and you'll come to the Royal Masonic Benevolent Institution Care Company. You've also got, so I was just showing the royal connection here. Now you've got the Masonic charity and you've got Charles Ackle linked through to St. Michael Hospice, incorporating Frida Pierce Foundation. You've also got independent doctors. Remember, all doctors linked through to this. The NHS connection is massive through one of the people within my company as well. Masonic charitable, you've got Right Honourable, His Honourable Judge linked through to this company. I mean, there's judges all throughout a lot of this. There's top military officials, there's politicians, you name it. We've now got a link through them to the Oxford and Cambridge Illumini, I'm probably not saying that, Wine Society. You also go back into the Masonic charity. You've got this Brigadier into the SSAFA Family Health Services. So if you look at that company, we're now into it now. It was originally called Soldiers, Sailors and Airmen's Family Association, okay, from 1995 to 1997. And if you look on their incorporation documents on the right here and further down, again, you can look at the page numbers to help you find this. This is 2 of 41. But if you go on to 10 of 41 and onwards, you'll see loads and loads of other linked companies, which means as soon as you have an element of fraud and a company that's an illegal entity, you can move money through the accounts. This is how it's been set up. Doesn't need to be set up like this. Of course, they're deliberately allowing this to happen for this very reason, to defraud everybody, the general public in particular, unless you're part of their gang. And you've got all these Temple Co. companies, like Temple Co. It's just showing how many there are. This is all linked on the same incorporation document. Temple Co's. Look at all these different Temple Co's. Now this goes against Companies House own guidelines, where you shouldn't have a company with two companies with a similar name, and yet here they are changing one digit of a company and allowing it to be registered with them and trade. Anyway, right, so back into this same person record on the right, we've got Care for Veterans, Forces Help Society, the Royal Engineers Officers, Widows Society on the right there. Royal Engineers Officers Widows Society. So we're going to look into them now. Started in 1922. And you can see that the incorporation document is completely wrong. Society for the something of the widows of officers of the Corps of the Royal, and it's linked to Jordan's and Sons. Well, that is not what is on the register. So that is fraud. I mean, this is disgraceful. I hope you're understanding this, guys, because this is all you guys in the forces, in the police. You need to realise you have been led astray for years and defrauded like the rest of us. It's a complete corrupt criminal system. And on the incorporation document for SSAFA, Forces Help Enterprises Limited, you have ICC company formations. ICC company formations, previous research comes up here, links to Walker's books and Robert Maxwell research, which you can see on the World Trade Center disaster document. It links to the London Youth Advisory Service, which is in my child protection, child concern, evidential research and child abuse and child trafficking. This is the research from that. You've got it links to British Gas, Harriet Harman research, and to the book company again. So looking back now in the person record, we've got Army Cadet Charitable Trust UK. Here they are. Started in 1934. Originally I came a name of Army Cadet Force Association. And interestingly, they changed their name in November 2022, so 2 or 3 months after I started identifying the fraud. Bearing in mind they hadn't changed their name from 1934, this appears to suggest they were panicking and they changed their name quickly to avoid any accountability after I started reporting it. And lo and behold, on their incorporation document, it hasn't been registered lawfully. Okay, so you've got Army Cadet Force, the association, but it's actually the British National Cadet Association. Crime, fraud, disgraceful. Within the Masonic charity, someone now links, you can see this person on the left links to Grant Thornton. Grant Thornton links through to Bournemouth, Christchurch and Paul Council, where this all started, through to their audit company that was using, that they were using for the council auditing of their accounts. And then also through the Masonic charity, you've got a company here links through to the Chartered Accountants Benevolent Association. You've also got the Royal Masonic School for Girls linked to the same person. Chartered Accountant Trustees Limited. And now just going back to the Outward Bound Trust. Okay, so we've gone right back to where we started with that video. Okay, and I do suggest you watch that video. I'll put the link in the description and you'll see why the Outward Bound Trust is so important. because of the links through to Jimmy Savile and an actual testimony by two people who were abused, and one of them witnessed a murder, and you'll see the police response. And now with all of this, you can see why the police clearly didn't want it to be uncovered. So we're now looking back at that, and you can see that this person from here links through to Willow Den, Scotland, and Willow Den, Scotland, on their incorporation documents, has the very same company, CMS, Cameron McKenna, Nabarro Olswang LLP. Remember, we mentioned that when we were coming in from the directed energy weapons side of things, it linked to that company. So I'm just now showing you, and although that looked very complicated, if you were to actually put how many companies there were between them, it's very few at all. In fact, it's so close. In fact, you can see how close it is because we've gone from the outward bound almost immediately through one company away, isn't it, to the same company, to the directed energy weapons research. Okay, let's move on. So we're back into the German-British Forum. We mentioned them earlier. And this is a bit more information to show how it links into me, or not to me, but to my company, I believe, and the child trafficking. So here we've got this person. And they link through to Hampshire Community Bank Limited. Now remember, Hampshire, Dorset is where my company is based. It's where a particular person in my company has linked through companies to them in a big way through their role. And here we have got Hampshire Community. So let's have a look. Based in Winchester, according to this. And on the incorporation document, you have Local First CIC. Local First CIC with an address Winchester. Let's have a look at Local First Community Interest Company, CIC. Comes up when you search that. It comes up with this company. And we've got an address of the same. Oh no, it's slightly different, sorry. So you can see this is how they use... You can see it's just another example, isn't it? So on here it's 10 the square. Now we've got 3 the square. Wow. I really don't mean to be disrespectful to these people. So I'm not going to say what I was thinking. Anyway, we then come through to Local First Community, and I found this particularly interesting. Look at this document for forgery. This is a signed document, and what they have done is redact by scribbling over, in panic, I would suggest, all of these details. Addresses probably, and the real names of these. So I suggest these were probably real signatures by real people. They've panicked that all this is coming out. They've gone back into the company's house record system and scribbled out the names and addresses to remove their accountability in all of this. Back into Hampshire Community Bank, and we've now got this person, Mr. Chowdhury. In fact, I think somebody sent me some evidence in relation to this person. And you can see through them, you've got City of London, Capital Limited. Let's look at City of London, Capital Limited. And they'd removed, is it with, I can't remember if this is where there was no people on there. Anyway, well, you can see that this person, oh, this was why I just put this on there because it linked through to Sweden. So, which I thought was quite interesting, to a Swedish company that's covered by Swedish law. Probably a way of removing the accountability for it, I'm sure. And then back in now to the same person, we've got My BNK. Let's look at My BNK. And they are linked to the London Law Agency Limited. You'll know from my other videos and documents, they are an unlawful entity company. They massively factor in this. They link through to the child trafficking, through to Jeffrey Epstein research, Max Clifford, Ghislaine Maxwell, etc. And if you look at the London Law Agency, it's actually the in the brackets at the end. So London Law Agency in brackets the. But you look on their incorporation document, it's actually, the company should have been Ganvalon Motors. And they haven't registered that name. So that is fraud. It's an illegal entity company. Now through the same person, we've got a link now to Zurich companies. Habib Bank Zurich PLC. Looking at that company now on their incorporation document. It goes through to Switzerland, Zurich, obviously. And on their incorporation, Sevenside Limited. 7-side link to Global X, which we've already mentioned, to Legolinks, which links to the World Trade Center buildings, all very quickly interlinked together. So going back to the Hampshire Community Company, we've got this person now links to HSBC, Invoice Finance UK Limited. Let's have a look at them. HSBC Invoice Finance UK Limited. Sorry about the noise. Wow, that is noisy. Sorry about that. And lo and behold, you'll see that this HSBC company should be called Griffin Factors Limited on the incorporation, but it's not at all. It's got Shield Factors Fraud, and Slaughter and May, who remember feature throughout, are on there as well. So you can see they changed their names here. Last time was in 1999. They haven't changed it since. But Griffin, remember, you got Griffin. Obviously, Lloyd's Bank used to be Midlands Bank. It used to be called I used to think it actually used to be called Griffin. We know it had a Griffin symbol, don't we, for their bank. So Griffin, so that just I thought I'd just pop this in there. This company, CAPB Limited, that's featured quite a lot throughout, you'll see that, and links to my company, has a registered office address of Griffins. Okay, you can see on the left there. And this was incorporated in 1932, and back on their company registration overview page, you can see that it was called Robert Fleming and Co. Limited up until, lo and behold, July 2001, same time that Larry Fleming purchased the World Trade Center lease, and they changed their name to CAE Premier Banking Limited, which is part of the Santander offshore banking system. Okay, and you need to go and look at my World Trade Center document. There's actually a guide within that document. It's within the document file link, and I'll put the link within this description of this video. Go and look at the World Trade Center document, because it's got a guide written in it explaining the fraud all the way through, showing you the links. You don't even need the videos for it, but there are the videos also supplementing that description and that guide. I think there's 9 parts to the World Trade Center document videos that you can find on Facebook, on YouTube. Now this is really important, because this next bit, you can see now we've got those links, and it links through to these companies. Okay, Commerce Bank is particularly important, because that links through to Space Force research and to those who are supposedly coming to rescue us with an underground military operation under the heading of Space Force, led by Donald Trump, and supposedly something to do with Pascal Nadari. Oh, so I do apologise, Pascal, if I'm getting your name wrong. I always get the name wrong, but you'll see it from a video soon. But it links in, and they're also mentioned in the Rishi Sunak document as well. So I suspect that everyone's saying, yes, the military are coming, they're going to save us, they're dealing with the child trafficking, they're nothing to do with the fraud. Unfortunately, I suspect that is a cover to make us believe they've dealt with it, when actually it's going to be hidden underground, and they'll bring in a digital currency system, probably BRICS, that's being used by Russia and China. And they'll probably bring that in and allow, I suspect, child trafficking to go on, the exploitation of children, into the slave trade and the sex trade, and allow the fraud to carry on through the digital currency system. I'm sorry to drop that bombshell. They're also linked through to Credit Suisse, you can see, Swiss, which was one of the tenants of the World Trade Center building. And through HSBC now, looking at that, you can see we now got HSBC Bank pension trusts. Let's look at them. So anyone that's got a HSBC pension, I suggest you're probably in trouble. It should have an incorporation name of Midland Bank Pension Trust Limited. Midland Bank, no, of course it hasn't. It's got Midland Bank number 1 Pension Trust. It's nothing like it. So again, your pensions are all at risk. And our lives are at risk, you see, because they're controlling or trying to control the population. There's an incentive through the pension scheme to reduce the population, isn't there? You see how corrupt and evil this whole thing is? So now you've got HSBC Bank PLC itself linked through to it, same person here. So you can see there, left-hand side, John Mackenzie, top, John Mackenzie, HSBC Bank, and you can see through HSBC Bank. So HSBC Bank PLC, and of course, their incorporation document does not match the incorporation at all. So here's the register. It's not matched the register, sorry. Midland Bank Public Limited Company, not 1880. It's a very old bank, isn't it? 1880 Midland Bank Public Limited Company. No, it's called Birmingham and Midland Bank. And you can see, is the date on here? Let's have a look. Here you go, just to confirm, another page of the incorporation document, Birmingham and Midland. So that is forgery. 1836, according to this, actually. So 1836. There's a date on it. What's this date? So you've got 1836, it appears to be. But we've got 1880 to 1999. Again, September 1999 changed its name. Just trying to find the date here. I'm just trying to ensure that this one wasn't registered overseas somewhere. But I think we'll find, is there a UK address? You know that. Bear with me, sorry, I'm just trying to clarify with this one. I'm sure someone else will be able to look at this and figure this one out. My eyes are starting to hurt as well. So the date doesn't match anyway. It may be that it's registered overseas with that one, because I can't find the date time with the register. Because that says... Oh no, that is 1880, isn't it? Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm being stupid. I do apologise. You've got 1880 June there. It threw me, that other date threw me, but maybe that is 1880. Yeah, so the date's slightly different, and what that is where you have a delay in the register when it's actually certified. Sorry, but yeah, it is the same document, so they've forged the register against the incorporation document. Sorry about that. Right, let's go to a few more minutes until we'll stop at about half an hour. So we've got HSBC now, invoice, go back into that company, it links through, this person then links through to Marks and Spencer Financial Services PLC. Marks and Spencer Financial Services PLC, you can see they were incorporated in 1983, changed their name, the last time being August 2002, just over a year. Sorry, just under a year after the World Trade Center disaster, and they haven't changed their name since. And on the document, it's again Mavis June Latter, who is linked to Swift Incorporation Limited, and also you've got Jordan's and Son Limited, so they're linked to the system of fraud. Now let's go back. Siemens Public Limited Company. So we're going right back looking at Siemens. Remember, we came from Siemens in the first place with this bit. We've looked at various other companies involved in the directed energy weapon system. So we're going back to Siemens Public Limited Company. And you can see through this person that this person links to Siemens Holdings PLC, again in Hampshire. And they are linked to, here you go, on their incorporation, Jordan's and Sons Limited of Brunswick Place. Remember the same address that's used? We just saw it, I believe, on the last document for Mavis June Latter. So you can see it's all connected to the fraud. Here we go, Jordan's. And this appears as though it's been stamped over other information, which is interesting in itself. Now we're looking at Siemens Protection Device Limited. Or Devices Limited, is it? Devices Limited, dissolved in 2019, and their company, look at the changes of dates. So they changed their names in 2000 October, changed it in again, so they had it for one name in October 2000 until 2nd of October, so for 15 days it was called something, then they changed its name again. Okay, from 17th of October 2000, they changed it again into 2006. And let's look on their incorporation document. Look at all of these. Look at all of these shell companies. Now remember what I've said to you a few minutes ago. Their guidelines, Companies House Own Guidelines, says you shouldn't have two companies trading or registered as trading with a similar name. And here they are, multiple names with just changes of a one digit to fit the narrative. Okay, we'll come back to, actually no, we'll finish this last little bit. Here we go, linked to the same person. You've got Net Zero NW Limited Company, Net Zero to do with climate change. And we've got Siemens Pension Funding General Limited. We'll stop the video there and we'll come back to that in a minute. God bless.